I work for Prequel, the ultimate photo and video editing app. We are here today to talk about making it as a digital artist. Before I introduce today's guest, some usual reminders about our live stream rules. Tag us in your stories and be reposted after the stream. Keep the comments positive and mindful. Spam and inappropriate language will be moderated. Share your thoughts in the comments and submit your questions in a question tab below in the right bottom corner of the screen. And I'm thrilled to introduce today our guest, Ted Chin, and a renowned visual artist from San Francisco, California. Also a photographer. His work being shown in galleries across the world, from Hong Kong to Paris, and he's worked with brands such as Adobe, Apple, Warner Brothers, you name it. He's done it all. Ted, if you're here with us, now is the time to request to join the stream. And we're going to be ready to start the discussion any second now. Hi.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear. Can you hear me?
Yeah, how's it going, everyone? Thanks for having me.
How's it going? Thanks for joining us. Welcome to a Prequel Live. It's been a pleasure to connect.
Yeah.
Are you in California at home?
Yes. I'm based in San Francisco. So right now it's 10 in the morning. So it's shining bright outside. And hello, everyone. Where you guys watching from?
Yeah. Let us know. Tell us the name of your cities in the comments, and we could just get into it if you don't mind. Do you want to tell us a fact about yourself that maybe not everyone knows or a few people know? Just to
So a fun fact is fun fact, I guess, is kind of so I'm an artist myself, but I also actually collect a lot of art. So on the back, you can kind of see like a whole shop of like different art right here. And then I have like more art on this side. There's like Kyle's Totoro, Miyazaki stuff. So I actually collect a lot of art myself. So a lot of people doesn't know that, but yeah.
That's cool. Artist and collector. That's a good two-line combo in a resume. Talking about art, how I wanted to ask you first and foremost, you are a digital artist. How did you start out in digital art? What brought you there?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of started like wanted to be a 3D animator, so I really love like Pixar, Disney, like all the movies growing up. So then like that's something I was like very interesting as a storytelling. So I kind of came to San Francisco to study grad school in that, and during that I discovered about like commercial photography. So that's when I got more into like, taking photos, editing, compositing, and everything. So it's kind of like went from there, and it's all connected.
Of course. Was it around the time that you started working with brands on these branded campaigns or brand partnerships?
No, at the time I started is like the early starting of the kind of like social media campaigns. So it's like very early. This is like right when the Instagram community was growing. So I would say like just by start posting a lot, showing my work on social media, I start getting a lot of like more attentions and blog writing about it, feature on articles, and slowly from there transition into like collaborating and working with brands. So it definitely helps a lot.
Would you say it's possible to make it as a digital artist without doing brand collaborations?
Yes, of course. There's a lot of like freelance people that I know and work with. A lot of amazing, talented photographer, videographer, especially in the city. Well, in every city, usually you can find like a different group of people. Then they're all professional, and a lot of them don't even really use social media. They just have like a strong client base, strong portfolio, and then great, amazing art.
Great stuff. You to talk about your art specifically a bit. You mentioned Dali and Magritte as influences. Your art is surreal in a sense. And question is, do you get inspiration from unconscious things, from dreams and stuff like that?
Yes. So, I mean, I get inspiration from a lot of different things. A lot of times, like from like current issues, events, day to day experience, or like thoughts, like poetry, or like novels, movies, or like literally anything that's like surrounding us in the different elements. So, it just what it takes is like how do you transfer those elements into your art, right? So that's where I gather my inspiration from. A lot of time I use like stock images. So like when I use like editing and collaboration, so I look at it and then like sometimes I just feel like really inspired by the scene of like the natures and everything I see, or like anime inspire me a lot too. So just like, oh, like I want to create something like this, or like a video game I play, or just like, I want to recreate that scene but adding my own taste. So yeah.
Do you have a formal process for turning your observations into art? A bank of references or some other formal ways to do it?
Yeah. So usually just like, take the photo or find the photo I want to use and like using like 3D models, or also like drawing stuff, or like finding like objects to like composite into the artwork, and then opening to the app like Photoshop, and then like editing everything there, and then like export it, and then like post it onto Instagram.
Uh, mm, that's cool. I think a lot of people should follow more or less the same workflow, so maybe it doesn't sound that intimidating.
It's actually so it's not super difficult nowadays, especially with those different apps that helps you like process things so fast. So just to say, like now it helps you kind of more like focusing on to your idea and concept instead of like struggling with the skills, right?
Yes, yes. No, there are so many platforms also to organize your references, to tag them, to keep them in one place. Absolutely. Taking this time to remind everyone that if you tag us in your stories, we'll be happy to repost this story in after this conversation. Um, Now, I wanted to talk also about your recent exhibition in San Francisco. Congrats, first of all.
Thank you.
Um, there's been a lot of conversation in the past years about art evolving into online. So much art moving into online from physical spaces. I suppose some digital artists may not even know that taking their art to a physical space can be an option. And the question is, was it your own idea? Was it strategical thinking? Was it just an experiment? How did it happen?
Yeah, so I mean, as I mentioned earlier, right? So I'm like a huge art collector myself. Well, I'm not huge. I'm like a huge passion for collecting art. So I also love like physical art, sculptures, and miniatures. So I had like this idea for so long, which is like there's got to be a way I can turn my art into like a way that people can interact with more. So interactive gallery is something I'm always like looking into do. So when the opportunity presented earlier this year that I have a chance to have an artist residency in Citizen Creative, the studio where they host me. That's when I was just like, okay, like this is something I wanted to do. I want to turn some of my art into sculptures. And so if you guys go to my Instagram, you guys just see a lot of photos and like videos from there. And so like turn that into sculpture pairing with the art pairing. So like your the viewers and the audience who can like kind of jump in between from like the surrealism into the real world back and forth. So just like something like a fun experience I want to provide.
Um, you mentioned you went back to mentioning your collection. What did the collection start from? Was there a specific piece that started it for you, or something that you remember fondly as number one
Yeah,
piece that you made?
so the title of the exposition, the show is called "Heading the Clouds." So basically, why I picked that is like, well, one is like a lot of my artwork has a lot of clouds in there, but two is like, as a child, like I think that's like the first thing I start daydreaming with is like laying down on the floor and looking in the sky, right? You look at the cloud and you're trying to see like what kind of shape it comes out with. So that's like like a perfect way, I think it would be easier to transitions the audience into like the imaginary world. Because it's like something like super relative and something easy. It's like a beginner 101, right? Intro with that.
Yeah, absolutely. What would you say is the most vital thing for a digital artist to be able to expand into offline, into galleries? Money, sponsors, a network, a
Yeah, I mean, it's all of that. So it's a lot of work and it's quite a challenging, difficult. If you could manage to produce a lot of like physical work yourself, that will save a lot of budget. But I'll say like, yeah, it does takes time, and then you have to convince the gallery or the space to kind of like see the vision that you're trying to do. So that's like one thing, and then you have the marketing, and then like preparations and everything. So it's a lot of work. So I've been preparing the show since earlier this year. I would say it's in January, no, December. I know about that I'm gonna have the show, and January to March is like the preparation, getting ready, and all the way till like September or like the day before the show. I was still like just like constantly working on just getting everything ready. So I would say like take about like 10 months of planning and then working and everything. So yeah,
that's a lot of time.
yeah.
What's your favorite part of the process?
What was that?
What could be your favorite part of the process in preparing that exhibit?
Hmm. Hard to say. Well, the first part is probably like picking the work and then like kind of like have the vision of what I want to present. And the next part will be like executing, produce the sculptures, making everything like set. And then it's like the design of the space, the experience of people like walk around like the walk floor with everything. And then I also enjoy the marketing, although it is a little bit stressing, but marketing is actually like kind of fun too. So that's like something I equally enjoy, but definitely the best part, just like creating art, is like always my favorite part.
Not a lot of art people will say they enjoy marketing, so I'm curious to hear.
Yeah, you have to know how to market yourself if that's like something you want to do.
That kind of connects to another question I want to ask. Um, in music industry, say social media is the ultimate booster. Would you say the same about visual art?
I would say modern modern era, like the time we're living, social media has become like a part of marketing tool, and it is like the best way to kind of establish yourself. You're like your own agency, and then like you're putting yourself out there. So I'll say like social media is pretty critical for I would say it helps a lot. It helps a lot. It definitely like provide a lot of opportunities, brings you to like all the people's attentions. But then like I don't know if it's still necessary, but it definitely is like very beneficial to have it.
And exposure that you get from turning to offline, it's also, of course, connected to new sources of income, hopefully. Yeah. So another question is, do you have a comprehensive advice on how digital artists can strategize diverse income streams?
Uh, I would say like first get your experience, working experience. Like you can start like either intern practice, volunteer on set, working with like photographers, assistants, or whichever area you want to work with. Get your experience built up. The more knowledge you have is more easier to like quote unquote survive in the freelance. And then build like networking, like always networking, connecting with people, and then there's like always opportunity out there. There's enough of like opportunity for everyone. But you just need to figure out like how to approach it, and then like how ready you are, right? And marketing, posting about like your artwork, share your stories. Those will really help. But the best things I always practice make art. But like think about like, how to get better, but like create with like purpose. But sometimes I always have fun like creating art, right? So it's like a mix of everything. But I know it sounds like a lot. Especially people who have like full-time job trying to like spare their time on the free time like to create and do this. But it's all about balancing. If you can like constantly doing it, I know like especially in this era, like digital social media, like just make you so famous in like randomly in like 5 minutes, 15 minutes of fame, right? Like everyone can get famous, right? But even though that is true, but a lot of time like it's more about like the marathon that you're running, right? It takes time to build what you want to do. Like overnight success like happens, but doesn't always like happens to everyone, but a lot of time also happen to those who been preparing and like working hard toward to it, and finally they had when it's the time for them to shine, it happens, right? So I hope like those are like some of the advice I could give. But if you're someone who are a great marketing business person, or someone that can help you and partner with, do that. That will also help you easier to survive or become like a full-time artist.
People in the chat is saying learning something new. So I guess that's a great comment.
Oh yeah, learning something new definitely helps too. So like I recently started doing like 3D printing. So I'm like learning all this 3D over again and then trying to understand how everything works. I'm watching like YouTube tutorial, I'm working with my friends, just like teaching each other like new thing we see every day. Also like I want to get back into like concept art drawing, painting. So like some other program I want to pick up too. So it's like so many things I want to do, but this is like the new thing that I haven't done in the past 8 years.
People are also mentioning publishing your digital art and print as a temporary measure, which is also could be interesting.
Yeah. For some reason, my chat is frozen, so I can't really see everyone's talking. As long as you can hear the basically. Yeah, so if you're reading there, that's like perfect. But maybe I can jump into like on my laptop so I can also see that too. But yeah, so those are like great advice, and also like really good tips too. Just like pushing yourself, but also like know when to take a break and relaxing. It's about balance.
There's also a great time to remind that if you guys enjoy this live stream, you can share it in your stories, and we'll be happy to repost your story afterwards. Talking about overnight success, earlier this year, you started a viral Instagram trend with a Vogue magazine cover, add yours story feature, and it got millions of recreations. Was that intentional? Did it take off unexpectedly? What was going on?
Yeah, so like it was kind of like semi-intentional. Like that's where I first saw like the filter at yours. I was like, this is interesting. And so I was there like I'll break it down. Like coming from like the marketing perspective or like opportunity, I saw the filter was out, and then I was just like, oh, like this is interesting. But I was like, I know every time when Instagram or any app has a new feature, they're always trying to push it. So that was like a new feature that I just saw on Instagram, so I know they were gonna push it. So the next step was like, okay, what are some other filters that are out there? And I take a look and what's trending, what's not, and then after that, just like, can I make my own filter? And if so, when I'm making my own filter, what would be the most relatable one that everyone can use? Even like as I include into my work. So when including all with all of that perspective, mixing out together, I was just like, magazine cover is always gonna be something great. I'm a photographer myself, work with models, and I know like for me, like I want my work to be on magazine working with brands, right? So like I was like, oh, Vogue is like the number one easier one to put to sing my head. So I went to like dig it out like some design on their past covers, put it out together, do like a whole thing and put it on the stories, and then just like using some of like the artwork that I have also have like models in them. Start posting and sharing, and then got like 1,000 views at the first week or month. I was just like, okay, that was fun. I was just paying on the story so people can like come back and reuse it. And I forgot about it, and then like over time, this time I start seeing more people using it, so I'll like repost on my story too. And next thing you know, just like more and more, and then like I stopped paying attention to it, and I like someone else like I don't follow was using it, and my brother was like, "Hey, like my friend was using your filter." I was like, "Oh, that's cool. Let me take a look." And all of a sudden, it was like 1 million user on the story share. So I was like, "Oh, this is fun." So I start posting more and more, and then like creating some other more. So on my story, like if you go on there, there's like a highlight code template. It has all the stuff like the viral template or something I created. I didn't create all of it, but I created most of it. on the highlight pink. So and I think it got up to like 6 million users used, and so I was like, oh, this is like really fun way to engage with like people, and then also like gain like story exposure, seeing like new followers and new audience who like not familiar with my work, but they just enjoy the filter. So that was just like kind of like a purposely, but also like a fun way that I'm doing it because I like it, but also I'm doing it because oh, this is like some thing I think it will work.
Did you try to repeat that success afterwards
Uh,
the same way?
so I try to create more. So a few filters works, but then I realized that it's also easier to either you have to come with some brilliant ideas, or two is that you find some other popular one that everyone was using. Just use that also helps to grow your audience. So it doesn't really matter. And I kind of like got a little bit busy, so I haven't like really make a new one lately. But I'm gonna make one this weekend just for fun, or if do you know some events are coming up, you can just like make one for it, just like okay, like maybe people use it, right? But events are really short, so maybe it's better to do like sports or team, right now I know like every time like when there's like a new sports event going on, maybe you can make like a team filters, and then like their audience and fan base can use it, and then they can share, hey, where we use it more, right? The team might win and stuff, so it's like a mix of both.
Absolutely. And you mentioned magazine art, artworks. What would be one magazine that you would like to have your art actually in?
Uh, if I could work with like working with any magazine I want, how was that one called? I mean, Vogue sounds pretty fun, but it was also the Bazaar. I forgot what was the name of it. I'm not really like looking a lot of like fashion magazine, but there's like so many amazing like art directions on like the creation of it. So usually what I do is like I would look up like the artist and the photographer who does the cover, but then I always forgot which magazine is it from. So but then like have any given taking like magazine will be fun as is like they have the budget and resource that can like literally go crazy with like the set design that you want to do.
Yeah,
So yeah.
that's what makes it fun. Um, Another question from a bit different direction. What's the best approach to get mentorship or advice for an up and coming creatives?
Yes. Talking about mentorship, I kind of got lucky. So when I first started, I have like a lot of like amazing friends that happen to be doing like full-time freelance already, like photographer and artist. So when I reach out to them, ask for advice, they actually point a lot of like directions for me and give a lot of great advice and feedback. So I always appreciate them, even though they're not my official mentor, but I consider them as like a mentor or like a pioneer, like someone who like paved the way, and then definitely like share a lot of like experience and helping. So for me is that every time I get a chance, someone reach out to me or ask me or grab me like talk, and then I will always like trying to give them as much advice or like experience I could to help them out for good karma. But I did help one of my friends. She her name is Emily. She has like this charity nonprofit called Jumpstart Design, I think. Yeah. So she helps out like the kids and students like to provide like free like computers, program, and then like mentorship to like help to like give them advice and train them. So I help her in one session with like a student as a mentor. So that was like my first time doing it, and that was like really fun for me. And besides that, just doing like talking and speaking, and I did like some advice consulting or like a session with students. They're like amazing, talented artists. So I just share like some of my experience with them, and then kind of like help them thinking like outside the box. Cause like, like I've been doing this for a while. So I have a little advantage of like things I see that I can share with them. And then with their talents, it's gonna be so easy for them to like become like a successful artist.
Would you say just finding 10, 50, 100 people that you admire online and texting all of them for advice is a good strategy?
Yeah, I'll say like if you do like email them, DM them, reach out to them, most of the time they will probably reply to you. So definitely like ask like as much as you feel. Like a lot of artists that I met, also because I saw them like they're in town. in San Francisco. So I just reached out to them. I was like, hey, no, you're probably busy, but I'd love to take you out for coffee or tea. Like, can I just borrow like 30 minutes of your time? I just want to like connect with you or like learn from you, you know? And then most of the time, like they'll say yes. So it was like really easy, like for me to connect with them.
Kids to the two words, networking works.
Yeah.
And lastly, what is the overall general ultimate advice you would give to aspiring digital artists looking to grow?
I'll say share your story, right? Share your story on any platform, social media, website, blog, or whatever you want to do. Because you never know who's watching, and a lot of time, like, someone will accidentally come across with your post, your art, you know, and they'll be like, "Hey, I really like your style, you know, I really like your artwork. Like, can I commission you to do some artwork?" Or like, "Hey, my friend's looking for artists to work with. Are you available?" So it actually helps a lot. And when I have my art show, I don't have a lot of like following on TikTok or other like platform, but I still post about it. And some people saw it and came to the art show. I was just like, hey, how'd you find out about this? Is like, oh, randomly pop on my Instagram. I was like, oh, that's cool. Or they say, oh yeah, so on TikTok, and then I'm live like around, so they came by. So yeah, share your story, post it on social media. It definitely helps. And networking. Go out social. I know like most of artists are introvert. We don't like to talk to people, but networking does helps.
And now for a couple of rapid fire questions.
Yes.
If you could only keep one, clouds or jellyfish?
Probably clouds.
Uh, Best piece of advice you've ever received?
Best piece of advice I ever received. There's so many. I'll say like when not a really like a advice, but like a quote that I heard from this guy. He said, when it's so personal, it becomes universal. So it's like when you make art about like your super like personal experience and you share it, turn out like a lot of people will probably have like the same experience too. So it become like so universal. Yeah.
And finally, if you weren't an artist, who would you be?
What was that?
If you weren't an artist, what would you be?
Probably like a business marketing that sells art.
I see.
Yeah.
That's
And then
you can still do that. You can still follow that dream.
art related, you know, yeah, just not creating, right? Yeah. Yeah, and then talking about that, yeah, like I just did like a post on my Instagram right like an hour 30 minutes ago before we go live. So I'm doing like a print giveaway. So you guys who are watching, go there, pick the one you like. I post like 10, I think. Pick the one you like the most. I'll pick someone to give away like a print.
That's very cute.
Yeah.
That's how we'll know who have watched up until this moment.
I know, right?
Yeah. Thank you so much. Do you have any closing remarks? Any farewell for the audience? And we're ready to wrap up.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for having me. It was pretty fun. I'm actually doing like a speaking panel later today, so this is like a great warm up. Just like okay, like get the answer ideas ready, wake up my brains, and it's always fun to connect with like new audience, and new like group, and including you and the Prequel team. So it was really fun, and really thankful for having me.
Thank you for being here, guys. Go check out Ted's Instagram and TikTok, and hopefully we'll be in touch more. And then stay tuned for our future live streams with new guests.
Oh yeah, and thanks. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.